Oh yeah, is it Tuesday already? We got some insane news to talk about today. The Mandalorian and Grogu just got some massive leaks about the plot of this movie, talking about Grief Karga and how they could be killing off Carl Weathers' character, and a big battle on Nevarro Part 2, because we saw one in The Mandalorian Season 3. We also got to talk about Oscar Isaac wanted to come back to Star Wars as Poe Dameron, and he might even be filming right now for Star Wars Starfighter. And if that's not enough, we also got some Starfighter news. Not Poe Dameron, but we do have some news from the director himself, Sean Levy. And we got to talk about all this and so much more. So without further ado, let's dive into all of it. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Tuesday afternoon? Oh, it's Tuesday. Yeah, it is. And we got a fun one today. Do we indeed? We watched The Force Awakens 10-year anniversary on Sunday night, and it was a blast. But we got some news, some Star Wars news to talk about today, from Mandalorian and Grogu to the post-sequel worlds to everything in between. We got a fun one. But before we do any of it, let's start the stream the only way we know how, by saying hi to everybody in the chat, shall we? Manning Film, what's up? That guy B, how we doing? Steven in the house. Mr./X, what is up? WV Grad, how we doing? Starship 66 in the house. Holly, what is up? Matthew, how we doing? Another Mike who loves Star Wars, great name. I appreciate it. 50 Thunder, what is up? Max Rebo in the house. Matthew, how we doing? Vegas Jedi, what is up? I Haja in the building. Carry on, what's up? Ron, how we doing? Darth Plagueis lives, what is up? Dave, how we doing? 730 Evie in the house. April, what is up? All right, if I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. Let's give everybody a nice little,
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
All right, I think we have to start with this Mando news, because it's got me the most excited I've been in a while for this Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Since we got the trailer, I don't know, when was the trailer? A month ago now? Feels like it. Since we got the trailer for the Mandalorian and Grogu, the news has been pretty, nothing. We get so many Ahsoka Season 2 leaks. We've been talking about Star Wars Starfighter since it started filming back in August. It's been a lot of other Star Wars news and not the Mandalorian and Grogu. However, this is still our first Star Wars movie in 7 years. It's the return to the big screen for the franchise that started on the big screen, and it's probably the biggest project in 2026, even though my hype level personally for Ahsoka Season 2 is like all the way up here. But The Mandalorian and Grogu is probably the most important project for Star Wars in 2026, as it is a movie. So we got to talk about it, because these leaks have got me so ridiculously excited for this film. And let's dive into it. A battle for Nevarro. Sounds pretty damn cool. And the Shadow Council connections and a possible connection to Grand Admiral Thrawn. So first things first, let's start with a poll. How's everybody doing today, chat? Are we having a good day? Is it a good Tuesday today? Is it good? Let's start it with a poll, shall we? Let's start it with a poll. Brandon, what's up? How we doing? If you haven't smashed a freaking like on this stream, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. Get on it. Let's start with that, at least. Okay. Oops. Do you think Grief Karga will die in The Mandalorian and Grogu? Yes or no? And if you're asking who's Grief Karga, where the hell have you been? Grief Karga is played by Carl Weathers, and Carl Weathers has sadly passed away before the filming of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. So he will likely, and I say likely because you could do deep fake or something else, likely will not be in the movie. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to kill off his character. They could put him off on some secret mission like they did with Cara Dune. But the news and the leaks today that we're talking about have to do with Nevarro, have to do with where Grief Karga is. So we got to talk about it. Do you think he will die in this movie? Or, like Ahsoka, does he choose to live? What do we think? It will be off screen, I think. Okay, all right. Let's start it here. All right. First things first, let's get to the leak itself. Okay? Let's get to the leak itself. Where is... Oh, there we go. So, again, this is a leak, so take it with a giant grain of salt, like the biggest grain of salt you could possibly find. Take it with that. We got this from Fives Walker. Pretty new on the scene, and that's why I say take it with a giant grain of salt. We got this. So, in The Mandalorian and Grogu, there is a big fight on Nevarro, and Din and Grogu's home gets destroyed, potentially the start of the film. So, where we last left off with Din and Grogu, they are now on Nevarro. They have this nice new homestead that they created for themselves, and they are on Nevarro, sort of, out in the middle of nowhere. They're working for the New Republic still. Din just adopted Grogu as his son, and that's where we leave it, with the quote-unquote Looney Tunes ending where it literally circles in on Grogu and we fade to black. So, we're on Nevarro, and this big fight for Nevarro seemingly ends with the destruction of Din and Grogu's home. Makes sense it would be at the beginning of the movie. Now, what's crazy about all this is the little information that we have about this movie. The trailer that we got, some of the leaks from about a year ago about Rada and Embo and all that craziness. None of it, the trailer itself and those leaks, have anything to do with Nevarro. I don't even think Nevarro's in the trailer. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chad. I don't think Nevarro's even in the trailer. So, it's kind of strange that this big leak comes out of nowhere about this big fight scene on Nevarro, especially when we haven't heard a peep about this planet even being involved in the movie at all. But it is where Din and Grogu, I guess, are stationed out of. So, all that to say, the little we know about this Mandalorian and Grogu movie is going to continue to be very evident as we get more and more about this film. Because I had no idea that this would ever happen. We already got a big fight for Nevarro in Season 3 of The Mandalorian, with the pirates and Bo-Katan and the other Mandalorians coming together to fight against the pirates and save the other Mandalorians who are on Nevarro. It didn't really make sense to me to not see Nevarro in this movie, because it's where we left off with Din and Grogu, but I didn't think there'd be a big fight there. So with this being said, and there is more to this leak, with this being said, what do you think's going on here? Who is this big battle against? The remnant of the Empire? Have they tracked down Din Djarin for one reason or another? Or is it pirates yet again? And I must shout out Max Rebo, I think it was, and some others in the Discord as we were talking about this big leak and how it does connect to the Shadow Council. And we're going to connect it, of course, to Grand Admiral Thrawn in a second here. But if you guys are not yet in that Discord, there's a link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. Go join it immediately. Immediately. Yeah. So there's that. So what do we think? It's just funny because we think we know what might go down in this Mandalorian and Grogu movie, and then we get something like this. Something where it's just like, nope, you have no idea. There's going to be this big battle on Nevarro, Maybe Grief Karga dies in that battle. Maybe not. I don't know. And Din and Grogu's home is going to be destroyed completely. Is that by pirates? Is that by the remnant of the Empire? What is this? How does this connect to the New Republic? How does this connect to Sigourney Weaver's character? How does it connect to Rada the Hutt and Embo? Like, nothing is lining up here. Nothing is. So what do we think? Yeah. Thoughts? The Shadow Council? Okay, let's dive into this. So, first things first, let me go, check this out. So maybe this is how they lose. Let me get to this super chat first. Hang on. Darth Plagueis lives with a $10 super chat. Holy crap, that's extremely generous. I appreciate that quite a bit. Says, do you think we will still see Embo in this? I don't know. Honestly, it would be cool to see Embo. I'm not like a hater of the character from the Clone Wars. I like Embo, I like it. The leak that came out about, 8 to 10 months ago was that Embo will be the main villain of the movie, which I am not a fan of at all. I actually really hate that. So, no, I don't want Embo to be the main villain, but him being in the movie, I'm all for. So, yes, I don't know. You guys tell me in the chat. Do you want Embo in this movie? Yes or no? You tell me. Why do you leak the script? I don't have a script. What are you talking about? I definitely don't have the script of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Also, will they deepfake Carl or will they kill him off screen? Well, I don't know. I really don't know. When it comes to Carl Weathers and his character Grief Karga, he plays a pretty important role in The Mandalorian Season 1, 2, and 3. However, you could get away with not having him be in the movie at all. The only problem would be the planet of Nevarro, but if it gets blown to bits like this leak is telling us, then maybe Grief dies in that explosion or the fight. Whether that's off screen or not, I don't know. They have deep-faked characters in the past. We got the Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian and Grogu. We got Leia and Tarkin in Rogue One. Anakin even in Ahsoka. As many people, for some reason, just deny the fact that, they deny that Anakin was deep-faked in Ahsoka for some reason. Hayden Christensen's like 40 years old, 45 years old. He's not 20 anymore. So the deepfake technology has been used quite a bit. Will they do it on Grief Karga, on Carl? I don't know. I really don't. I think it's more likely that they kill him off screen. But I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. And speaking of deepfake technology, it just keeps getting better. Like, this technology is beyond anything we've hoped and dreamed. Shout out to the people who were talking about Stranger Things, too, in the chat the other day. Has anybody, give me a 1 into the chat if you've seen the Stranger Things Season 5 first 5 minutes or whatever it was that they posted a couple days ago, where you see Will Byers, young Will Byers, deepfaked. It looks incredible. So the technology there has gotten so much better, even since we saw Luke Skywalker in the Book of Boba Fett 3 years ago. So I think if they're going to deepfake Carl Weathers, it will look just fine. But I don't know if they will. Killing him off screen wouldn't be, People don't like the recast anymore. No, they don't. No, they definitely do not. They did recast Bail Organa in Andor Season 2, which was not really met with the greatest of open arms from Star Wars fans. But, yeah. I don't know. So, you guys tell me in the chat. Do you think we will see Carl Weathers and he will be deepfaked, or are they going to kill him off screen? Or are they not going to kill him at all? Because it might not even be the case that he dies. But if there is a big battle for Nevarro, it's likely he will die. Does Nevarro have any important resources? Where is the planet in the galaxy? Does Nevarro have any connections to the Force? No connections to the Force that I'm aware of, but in Season 2 of Mando, there is that cloning facility. So it's possible that the Empire already had a cloning facility there. So it could be the remnant of the Empire coming back, whoever was in charge of that area. This does bring us to the Shadow Council. So we know of 2 Shadow Council members confirmed to be in The Mandalorian and Grogu. As small of or as little amount of the cast that we know 2 members of the Shadow Council will be returning, which is very important because one is probably governing over Nevarro and was in charge of that cloning facility, or is now in charge of that cloning facility because of the death of Moff Gideon. People kind of forget, but Moff Gideon is dead. He dies in The Mandalorian Season 3, as many people want him to survive because Giancarlo Esposito's awesome. He is dead. So his territory for the remnant of the Empire is technically up for grabs, and Nevarro might be in that territory. So you could be seeing the remnant of the Empire come into Nevarro to sort of reclaim this place because Din, Cara, and Grief Karga did go in and destroy their facility, their cloning facility on the planet. Could be. Could be. No one is ever dead in Star Wars. Oh, that's, definitely not true. Star Wars has gotten this bad rap recently. I don't know what it is, that nobody ever dies in Star Wars. Okay. A lot of people have died in Star Wars. It's actually quite the opposite. Very few people come back You have your Boba Fett's, but he didn't even die. He just fell into a Sarlacc pit. Your Darth Maul's, but again, didn't die. He just fell down and got chopped in half. Characters that actually came back to life, I guess you could argue Ahsoka Tano. Yeah. Rey, definitely. She died and came back to life. Asajj Ventress. And that's it. Qui-Gon, dead. Obi-Wan, dead. Vader, dead. Yoda, dead. Luke, dead. Leia, dead. Han, dead. Mace Windu, dead. Palpatine, dead for good this time. Darth Maul, also dead. Count Dooku, dead. Grievous, dead. Every Jedi from Order 66, dead. Kanan Jarrus, dead. Every main character from every movie, except for the sequels, because those characters are still going, are dead. Yeah. So I don't know where this whole thing of nobody ever dies in Star Wars came around, but it could not be further from the truth. Everybody's dead. The actual perfect, I guess, theory for any upcoming Star Wars project, as I do a lot, is to kill off every character to ever exist in the show, because eventually those characters are going to die. Yeah. Mace is maybe not dead. Maybe. If you're a Force Ghost, are you really dead? Yes. Force Ghosts are dead. They're one with the Force, which means they are dead. They just have the ability to commune with certain people. Like when Obi-Wan is there talking to Luke on Hoth, Han doesn't see him. So Obi-Wan is only there in Luke's head. And us as the audience only see him because we get to, VIP passes to the backstage. But, yeah, Force Ghosts are still something that hasn't really been established much or explained enough in the canon of Star Wars. Yeah. True. On a long enough timeline, the life expectancy reaches 0. Exactly. All these characters, as much as you guys crapped on me last week for killing Din Djarin off, because I do think he might die in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, because we got this leak from last week. If I can pull this up real quick. The leak from last week was this poster from the official Star Wars Japanese page that translates to, let me see if I can find it real quick. Oh my God, how many things do I save here? There it is. 200 days to go. This was from last week, and this translates to The Mandalorian and Grogu, a new story, of love and loss. Love and loss. And I think the loss is going to be Din Djarin. And I know many of you are like, Mike, don't kill Din Djarin. He's my favorite character, blah, blah, blah. All your favorite characters are going to die. My favorite characters, Anakin, Ahsoka, and Maul. I guess Ahsoka's still technically alive, but both Maul and Anakin are dead. They're gone. And it hurts me every day, okay? But Din Djarin is going to die at some point, and I think the perfect spot would be the Mandalorian and Grogu because of his connection to Boba Fett, Bo-Katan, Ahsoka Tano, Carson Teva, all these different people that aren't connected. Din Djarin is the connection. And if he dies, then it could bring those people together in an Avengers-level event to take down Grand Admiral Thrawn. So yeah, Din Djarin's going to die. But it's how you kill off a character. And right now we have the greatest guy in charge of killing off this character, Dave Filoni. He has created the most meaningful deaths in Star Wars over and over and over again. And I guarantee you, however they kill off Din Djarin, it will be the most meaningful way. Yeah. What will Grogu be like without Din Djarin? Oh, that's what I want to see the most. Yes, Din Djarin's death would bring all these different people together, but imagine a dark side Grogu? Imagine. Man, I love Star Wars. You and me both. Do you think Grogu is the key to the movies after the sequels? Honestly, I don't know. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. Where we're at right now with the timeline, we assume that Grogu's going to live beyond the sequel trilogy because he's supposed to live for 900 years. But we don't know if he's going to be a Jedi, a Mandalorian, or anything else. it's all still up in the air. Because he's not in the events of the sequel trilogy, you have to assume that he's either with the Mandalorians, who also aren't in the sequels. There's not a single Mandalorian in the sequel trilogy. So he could be off with them, or he could be anywhere else in the galaxy. Grogu is definitely a gigantic question mark. I just don't know if he will be involved with Rey's Jedi Temple or anything with the events of Starfighter or anything like that. How they use Grogu in the future will be very, very interesting. Yeah. I have to admit, this theory of Din Djarin dying has me saddened, but also hyped. Yeah, I mean, obviously, however they kill off a main character like the Mandalorian himself, it will be sad. But it could be the catalyst that helps bring down Grand Admiral Thrawn. What does Poe Dameron say? It would be like the spark that lights the flame, that flames the fire, that fires the cannon, that cannon is the Death Star, that Death Star is the planet that, blows up the thing. That would be Din Djarin's death. Yeah. Yes. I think there are Mando ships in the fleet at Exegol. Are there? Can somebody fact check that? Is there Mandalorian ships at the Battle of Exegol? Huh, that would be crazy. We know that the Ghost is there, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Grogu might be a teenager in the post-sequels exploring the galaxy on Ahsoka's footsteps after Thrawn's campaign in the new canon. Well, I could see Grogu going to like Peridia or something. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know why he would do that, but it would be kind of cool. Yeah. Darth Grogu. I don't know many people that would say no to a Darth Grogu. Disney would never do that. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. All right, let's circle back a little bit here to the character of Greef Karga specifically. Do you think they will kill off Greef Karga? Yes or no? And if so, will it be on screen or off screen? Because if we're talking about these leaks and if the possibility of them being true, that there's this big old battle on Nevarro and Din and Grogu's house gets destroyed, you have to assume that the majority of the city on Nevarro, this nice new luscious city that we see in season 3, is also going to be destroyed. And if it's the remnant of the Empire, it'll be the perfect catalyst to throw Din and Grogu into hating the Empire even more than they already do, and wanting to hunt down the person responsible for killing Greef Karga, if that is the way they go. Because Greef and Din have a very strong relationship together. So it would make sense for that to be our catalyst into the story. Din going to Sigourney Weaver's character with the New Republic saying, I need to find whoever's responsible for this, whoever's in charge, whoever's this warlord or shadow council member for Nevarro. He's going to hunt him down because he killed Greef Karga. It could be like a John Wick-style Din Djarin, with Grogu on his shoulder, of course, hunting down the guy who kills Greef Karga. I'd like that. I'd like that a lot. But tell me in the chat. Do you think that's what's going on here? What do we think? If The Mandalorian and Grogu is a hit, Disney will want sequels, so killing him off would be a mistake at that point. Disney loves money, remember? Dead Han Solo toys don't sell, George Lucas once said. True, I do agree with you on that, but Din Djarin is not the money maker here, as much as the Mandalorian name is. Grogu is. Look on your shirt. Look around your room. Grogu is everywhere. Actually, he is on my shirt today. So, he's everywhere. Grogu makes them billions, with a B, billions of dollars every single year just from merchandise. So Grogu is the big money maker there. Yes, Din Djarin, I'm sure they sell a bunch of maybe Mando helmets like that, something like that. You can still sell those. Din Djarin already probably has more screen time than like 90% of Star Wars characters because he's had 3 seasons of his own show. You're talking 24 episodes of Din Djarin, and now he's getting his own movie. So yes, it would be a maybe a little bit of a hit in the money-making category, but you still have Grogu. the guy who's making you billions and billions and billions of dollars. That's like saying, I'm not going to kill off Darth Vader because we sell a ton of Darth Vader masks. Darth Vader still died anyway. Yeah. More screen time than Luke Skywalker? Maybe. Think about it. The Mandalorian is 3 seasons, 24 episodes. Each episode's probably about 40 minutes on average, give or take. Somebody do some quick math here for me. I'll do it. 24 times, what did I just say? 40 minutes? Give or take. That's 960 minutes. Okay, so would be, oh, damn it. Hang on, Chad. 960, did I just say? Divided by 60. That would be 16 hours of screen time for Din Djarin. Again, this is just rough math. That's 16 hours of screen time. Luke Skywalker, as much as he is the main character of the original trilogy, those movies are just 3 movies, all about probably 2.5 hours at most. So you're talking about 6, maybe 8 at most hours of screen time. Half. So yes, Din Djarin has a lot more screen time, almost probably double, than Luke Skywalker does. It's not like we are missing out on the amount of Din Djarin we could possibly get into the future. Greef probably dies before the events of the movie. Okay. Also, I can see Luke taking care of Grogu if Din dies. Sebastian Stan could play Luke going forward if Mark Hamill doesn't want to return. I don't think Grogu's going to go to Luke's temple. He already denied that. So I don't think he will go back. Even if Din dies, I think Grogu would go with the Mandalorians before he goes back to Luke. Yeah. But I don't think they'll kill off Greef Karga before the events of the movie because they can use it to be a catalyst in the movie. For example, if they kill him off in a Battle of Nevarro, that can be the catalyst to make Din Djarin pretty angry about whoever killed him, trying to hunt down this remnant of the Empire leader, this Shadow Council member, and that could lead to him finding out the truth. Din Djarin finding out that there is more to this remnant of the Empire. They're way more connected than he could ever possibly imagine. Let's not forget, this would not be the first Shadow Council member, the first Imperial warlord that Din Djarin is going toe-to-toe with. He went toe-to-toe with Moff Gideon for 3 seasons. So he, of all characters, Din and Grogu, have the most experience with this remnant of the Empire in the Outer Rim. So he has all the answers. Well, he will have all the answers if he finds out about the actual Shadow Council. And it's what he does with that information, or if he's able to even bring it back to the New Republic before getting killed by Grand Admiral Thrawn. Either way, I think you're going to see this movie play out in a very, very, very similar way to what we were talking about last week. This is sort of just the catalyst, this Battle of Nevarro that these leaks are talking about. The destruction of his home, the possible death of Greef Karga to the remnant of the Empire. That can be the catalyst to draw him in to wanting to kill whoever killed his friend, and then he figures it out. He figures out that there's a whole bigger thing going on in the background, and maybe he even finds out about Grand Admiral Thrawn and the heir to the Empire. And if he gets that information back to the New Republic, well, they might not believe him in the first place because they didn't believe Hera Syndulla in Ahsoka Season 1, and the New Republic's pretty dumb, but if he gets that information back to the New Republic, they will know that there is a bigger threat out there. Possibly Grand Admiral Thrawn, but possibly just the remnant of the Empire being all gathered together. And yes, that would sound like the start of a trilogy, because I don't think you're going to start and end that story in one movie. There's no way. And we've talked about this before, but Lucasfilm does want this to be the beginning of a trilogy. Disney's the one who said, no, we need to see it be a success first, and then we'll let it be a trilogy. Hot take, Thrawn should win. I think Thrawn should win. I think Thrawn should win. 2026 should be the year of Thrawn. The year of the big blue meanie. Can we title it 2026 the year of the big blue meanie? You know how like it's the year of the dragon or the year of the cat or whatever? Can it be the year of the big blue meanie? Can we get that like somewhere official? Somewhere? I want him to win in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. I want him to win in Ahsoka Season 2. I want him to just get so many wins over and over and over again. I want him to kill Din Djarin. I want him to kill Harrison Dula. I sound like the Grim Reaper over here, but imagine how big a threat Grand Admiral Thrawn would be. He's not a Force user. He's not a Sith Lord. He doesn't have a lightsaber. He's just a guy. He's a big blue meanie. That's it. He's a strategic genius, but imagine if he killed off Din Djarin and Harrison Dula in the same year. Imagine if he brought back the remnant of the Empire, or brought together the remnant of the Empire to become the heir to it. Imagine. Because right now, people don't take Thrawn serious. They don't take him serious at all. They don't think that he's nearly a good enough villain. That's a big complaint about Ahsoka Season 1. He's not made a big enough villain. It's hard because he's going up against Ahsoka, Ezra, and Sabine, all Force users with lightsabers in Ahsoka Season 1. But still, he's going to go up against, hopefully, Ezra again, maybe even Luke Skywalker. If we're lucky, Cal Kestis in this upcoming Heir to the Empire stuff. So he's going to have to go against Force users and lightsaber wielders. Now he has Night Sisters that have magic. He could be getting some Terran Malicos as a canon version of Jorah Sabaoth if we're lucky. But we're going to have to see him get a bunch of wins. And the only way that it's, I guess, believable that he gets a win against a non-Force user would be like Din Djarin or Harrison Dula. Two characters that aren't in the sequel trilogy that could be killed off. What do we think? Do you think that Grand Admiral Thrawn is going to get a whole lot of wins next year? Actually, let me put up a poll. Let's put up a poll. By the way, 78% of you do think that Grief Karga will die in this movie. And I think it would be the perfect catalyst. This battle for Nevarro in the leaks that we're talking about, it's the perfect thing to not only kill off Grief Karga and make it meaningful, because Carl Weathers is a very important character through the first 3 seasons of The Mandalorian, but to make it meaningful to the story. Kill him off. Doesn't have to show him on screen. You can kill him off screen. In a way, you can even give him a funeral with Din Djarin and have a very meaningful moment of sort of, you know, an actual funeral for Grief Karga, but also a tribute, if you will, to Carl Weathers in real life. And then you can go into the story. Din Djarin on a mission to redeem, you know, his friend. Yeah. Okay. I think it would be a respectable way to, you know, do the passing of Carl Weathers, but also use it to your advantage with the story and make it meaningful. The entirety of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie could be like redeeming Grief Karga for the horrible things that happened to him. Okay, let's do this. Do you think, oh, hang on. Do you think Grand Admiral, why does Admiral look wrong? Admiral Thrawn, okay, I'm leaving it that way, will be in The Mandalorian and Grogu? Yes or no? Do you think we will actually see the face of the big blue meanie in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie? Yes or no? What do we think? No. I could see it being that he's not in the movie, but his presence is felt, if that makes sense. Din Djarin going and hunting down these Shadow Council members, finding out that there's a bigger conspiracy happening behind the scenes with the remnant of the Empire. And in that, you could see, or you could maybe get mention of Thrawn. If we hear about this Grand Admiral Thrawn character and Din Djarin finds out that he's the brains of the operation, that he's trying to bring this remnant of the Empire together. Because when we last saw Thrawn, he just arrived on Dathomir at the end of Ahsoka Season 1. He just got there with his dead Night Sisters that he has to bring back to life. And that's going to take a while. He's not just going to come back and immediately have an army, immediately have all the funds that he needs to get this thing going. He's going to need time. and a lot of it to get a army. He doesn't have any ships. He doesn't have any soldiers. He's got none of that. Doesn't have any money, but he's right next door to Atten, which I still think is the reason Skeleton Crew even exists. But all that to say, I don't think we'll see Grand Admiral Thrawn in this movie, but he might be mentioned. He will definitely be referenced in one way or another, if not by name. A Thanos-style post-credit scene, that would be pretty cool. If it's like him grabbing a gauntlet and going, fine, I'll do it myself, like that would be awesome. I'd be down for that. There is no Thrawn movie yet, but people forget that after Ahsoka Season 2, Dave Filoni is doing his own Mandoverse movie. That still exists. The only reason that was put on the back burner is because of Ahsoka Season 2. So he still is going to make that Mandoverse crossover movie. The culmination of The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett, and Skeleton Crew. That's what that movie was described to be. All those people coming together. How do you get those people together? Well, the death of Din Djarin would be pretty good. Pretty good way to do that. Yeah. Okay. This takes me to my favorite theory going into this Mandalorian and Grogu movie. And this kind of came up due to the watch party that we did on Sunday, but also because of the galaxy map. So the big question that I have is, what is that snowy planet in the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, where Din and Grogu are going head-to-head with these 3, maybe even 4 AT walkers on that snowy planet? What planet do you think that is? Here, I'll show you. The Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. Mandalorian and Grogu trailer almost has 10 million views, by the way. So, where is it? Nope. Ah, here we go. This planet. What planet do you think this is? Thoughts? What do we think? It's a new planet. Could be a new planet. It's the planet from Solo. Oh, where they do the train heist? Interesting. What planet is that? What's the name of the planet in Solo where they do the train heist? Does anybody know? Hoth. Could be Hoth. I like that a lot. Hoth, they have the rebel base, which gets taken over by the Empire, so now it's an Imperial base. Early Starkiller. Interesting. Interesting. It's the same planet in Solo. Ilum. Okay. So my two favorites in this theory of what planet is this is by far Ilum, which is the planet from the Jedi games where and in the Clone Wars where the Jedi go to get their kyber crystals for their lightsabers, which eventually gets turned into Starkiller Base. If you didn't know that, Ilum actually becomes Starkiller Base. Or Hoth. And there's sort of evidence to back both of these theories, so I'm dying to know which one you guys think it is. The planet in Solo is Vandor. It could be Vandor. It could be Vandor. Okay. All right. Should we put up a poll, actually? It's Tatooine in December?
Incorrect.
I don't think so. I don't think so. All right, let's put up a poll. There are trees in that clip. There are trees in that clip. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. By the way, 56% of you do think that Grand Admiral Thrawn will be in the Mandalorian and Grogu. Wow, that's actually a lot more than I thought. What planet do you think this is? We're going to go Hoth, Ilum slash Starkiller Base. Same place. What is it? Vandor? Vandor or other. Those are your options. So it could be a new planet, could be another snowy planet, could be the planet from the Bad Batch, the snowy planet from season 2, or is it season 3? Whatever it is. Could be, maybe both actually, season 2 and 3. Or a new planet, exactly. Could be a new planet. Starkiller had trees. All right, let's do this. Did Hoth have no trees at all? All right, so here's the theory. I'm going to start with Hoth, and then I'm going to go to Ilum slash Starkiller Base because that's my favorite of the theory. All right. So, on the galaxy map, this Star Wars galaxy map that they posted so long ago now, feels like. If you scroll down here, I almost have this map memorized. Not really, but for some planets I do, like Hoth. When you look here, you have Hoth and Bespin right next to each other. Hang on. Why does it keep moving around? Hoth and Bespin, almost right on top of each other. These planets are so close together. And there's a reasoning for that. Of course, the plot of The Empire Strikes Back, the Millennium Falcon can't go through hyperspace, so they have to go through sublight, and they end up on Bespin, where they get, I guess, betrayed by Lando Calrissian. But why is this important for the Mandalorian and Grogu? Well, if that snowy planet in the trailer is indeed Hoth, and the Imperial base that is there is why there's AT-AT walkers there. Well, that would mean that Bespin is likely in this movie too. And the reasoning for that is because at Galaxy's Edge, at Disney parks, at Galaxy's Edge, the Smuggler Run ride, where you go into the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon and you go on missions with Hondo Ohnaka, there is going to be a Mando and Grogu event at that ride, where you are now going to go with Din and Grogu on a mission. And the three options for the location of that mission are Bespin, Coruscant, and the second Death Star. So, we learned when this was announced, because this Smuggler's Run ride comes out on May 22nd, 2026, the same release date of the movie. So you assume that there's going to be spoilers in this ride for the movie. And Jon Favreau, the director of the movie himself, confirmed that the events of this ride, where you go to Bespin, Endor, where the second Death Star was, or Coruscant, take place right off screen from the events of the movie. Meaning, Bespin and the Millennium Falcon itself could be in this movie. And if Bespin's in the movie, well, then that snowy planet might as well be Hoth. And the reason that both are in the film is because Din Djarin is at this Imperial base on Hoth, and then for some reason, somehow, they end up on Bespin as well. So that's the first part of this theory. That's the first side of this. Okay? Then we have Starkiller Base. Now, Starkiller Base, I actually don't know where it is on this. Oh, I do actually. Again, I have this map memorized. Ilum. The planet of Ilum eventually becomes Starkiller Base. And if we scroll up here, Ilum is right there. Kind of close to Exegol, honestly, but not really. It's in the unknown regions. Pretty far, like, there's no real direct line from Coruscant over here, but, you know. It's right there. Ilum. Seen in Clone Wars, Jedi games, and it's Starkiller Base. The reason I think it could be Ilum comes from our live stream on Sunday night where we watched The Force Awakens. Shout out to you guys that came to watch. That was a blast. 10-year anniversary of The Force Awakens. As somebody pointed out, this planet, the more and more you look at it, looks more and more like Ilum. The snow, the rocks, the trees. When you look at Starkiller Base in The Force Awakens, if I can pull it up here. Killer Base. These are only far away shots. I want the surface. Hang on, let's see. Aha, here we go. Here we go. Why is this so hard? Let me do this instead. Han and Finn crash land on Starkiller Base. Here we go. Right there. Perfect shot. Okay. So you see a lot of snow, obviously. Snow, you got the nice rocks right there, rocks and snow, obviously. But the trees, when you add all these things together, it sure as hell looks like this exact scene. Damn it, I just closed that tab. Mother bleeper. Okay, let's let's fix that. It certainly looks like that snowy scene from the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. If I can pull that up real quick. This and this certainly look the same. So now you have what could be the biggest kept secret of this entire movie. The fact that Din and Grogu might be on Starkiller Base. Or what's eventually going to become Starkiller Base. Eventually. Now, what's really cool about this is we see Ilum long before it becomes Starkiller Base in the Jedi games. What we got in The Mandalorian Season 3 with the Shadow Council meeting is those, I guess, people, Imperial warlords, talking about Starkiller Base. What General Hux's dad, forget his first name, but General Hux's dad was working on is this Starkiller Base. Project Necromancer along with it. So is it possible that this planet is, that's the chat, say hi to yourselves, chat, is this planet from the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer? The trees look the gosh darn same. And so do the other things. When did I get on TikTok? We streamed to TikTok. Well, we've been streaming to TikTok for about a couple weeks now, but TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter were on today too. Oh yeah, multicast streaming. Ooh. Mike, are you saying that we could be seeing Snoke? I don't know. I really don't know anymore. Like, the little that we know of this Mandalorian and Grogu movie makes me think that anything at this point is on the table. When you see stuff like this looks exactly like Starkiller Base in The Force Awakens. The exact same terrain, the exact same stuff, and it would make perfect sense that there are AT-AT walkers on the planet. And this giant cliff could be the giant crater opening in the middle of the planet that eventually turns into the giant beam that destroys multiple planets. So it could be that Snoke is also being created on this planet too. I think Snoke's actually created on Exegol though, but there was cloning tanks on Nevarro. What if Din Djarin is just following the scent or the trail of cloning facilities from the Imperial Remnant from Nevarro to now Starkiller Base, Ilum, if you will? Hux's dad was in The Mandalorian? Yeah. He was in that Shadow Council meeting. So all that to say, there are two very likely possibilities here. Now, you guys are saying that there's no trees on Hoth. From what I recall, I don't remember seeing a tree on Hoth, but the likelihood of it being Hoth because of its proximity to Bespin here on the map, and Bespin being confirmed to be in the canon Smuggler Run ride, which has Din Djarin and Grogu in a Razor Crest going with the Millennium Falcon to Bespin, that could be the connection to Hoth. And then you have Ilum, Starkiller Base. The Shadow Council having that meeting in Mando Season 3. Hux's dad being involved in the creation of Starkiller Base. And the rise of the First Order. Because as much as we talk about Grand Admiral Thrawn, as much as we talk about him being the heir to the Empire and the main threat, eventually, 20-ish years after the events of this movie, we get to the sequel trilogy, where we have Snoke, the First Order rising to power, we have Hux, we have Kylo Ren, all that stuff takes place. We know that that is going to happen. That has to happen. What hasn't happened yet is Snoke's creation, at least that we know of, and the First Order's creation. So as we see Thrawn rise to power and probably fall very quickly, we're going to see the First Order rise right after him. So could Snoke be in the movie? Probably not. But Starkiller Base could be. The Shadow Council will certainly be. We know that 2 are confirmed. So what do we think? I don't think Thrawn will be on Ilum, but at least the other Shadow Council members will. That's the thing. We're thinking that Thrawn is in charge here. Well, he will be. But when we see the Shadow Council member meeting in Season 3 of Mando, when Pelion brings up Thrawn, Moff Gideon and the others are like, well, Thrawn's not here. Right now, we got no Thrawn. So what do you want us to do? So they don't really think of Thrawn as their heir. They don't think of him as the next coming of Palpatine. So it's probably, not likely that we get Thrawn connected to the Shadow Council. He will eventually become the guy who brings the Shadow Council together, probably after a couple Shadow Council members die. Din Djarin has already taken out Moff Gideon. If he takes out 2 more of the confirmed Shadow Council members in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, then he's going to be a big threat. And if Thrawn can take him out and kill Din Djarin, then he can be the one who goes, hey, you know the guy who killed off 3 of your members? I killed him. I'm your leader now, so you have to listen to what I say. And now he is the heir to the Empire. So not only would Din Djarin's death be the thing that could bring all the Avengers together, Bo-Katan, Boba Fett, Luke Skywalker, Ahsoka Tano, and others, but it could also be the catalyst for Grand Admiral Thrawn to bring the remnant of the Empire together behind him, his leadership. It's all pretty crazy. It's all absolutely insane. But what if Din Djarin is on a killing spree in this movie, killing Shadow Council members left and right? What if he goes to Ilum and kills Hux's dad? That'd be pretty crazy. What do we think? By the way, the poll in the chat right now says 48% of you say Starkiller Base, 18% say other, and 18% also say Hoth, and 16% say Vandor. Interesting. Do you think that Thrawn will work with or work against Abeloth? I think Abeloth will be the reason why the sequel trilogy happens. Why it happens? You're gonna have to elaborate on that a little bit more. I don't think Abeloth is going to make it off Peridea. I think Ahsoka, Sabine, Huge Wang, Shin, Shin, Baylan Skoll, and Anakin will stop him. Yeah, one way or another. They will stop her. Did I say him? Her. I'm losing it, chat. And Abeloth will not make it off Peridea. She's too powerful to make it back. If she makes it back, it's over, and the sequel trilogy events probably can't happen. Yeah. I'd be surprised. She'd be chaos. Exactly. And Abeloth is such a big threat that she cannot possibly make it back to the main galaxy and then not be mentioned in the sequel trilogy if they did take her out. Thrawn not being mentioned in the sequels, it's like Ahsoka not being mentioned in Revenge of the Sith. It's not the end of the world, but it's kind of like, okay, that's a little strange. Abeloth not being mentioned in the sequels is like just ridiculous. Like, that's impossible. She's way too powerful to not be even mentioned unless everybody's mind gets wiped or something. Yeah. I don't want everybody to die, okay? You guys sit here like Mike's the worst. He's killing off everybody. I don't want him to die. However, it would be great. Am I a Marvel fan by any chance? I love me some Marvel. See, Not many people know this. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a behind the scenes look at a guy who loves Star Wars. But when I started this channel, I also had a channel called, um, I don't know what it was called. Oh, I do know what it's called. Whatever. It was a Marvel channel. And the Marvel channel, Marvel at the time was falling off a cliff after Endgame. So I was like, I'm just going to, focus on Star Wars because I like Star Wars more anyway. And, Marvel wasn't doing it for me. Yeah. Yeah, sure, why not? The battle between Abeloth, which is a Force entity, like the Sun, might have indirect consequences on the Force itself, just like Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka influenced the Force by fighting the Son and the Daughter. Interesting. So what you're saying is the First Order rises to power, Snoke is created, Palpatine is able to come back, and Kylo Ren falls to the dark side because of Abeloth's pull on the dark side of the Force and the Force itself. It creates consequences through the actual Force. So the creation of Kylo Ren and his fall to the dark side and all that other stuff is because of Abeloth. Now that is pretty crazy. That is pretty wild. I kind of like it. Why did the darkness come back in the galaxy after the Emperor was destroyed? Abeloth. That'd be pretty crazy. Didn't it take two of the most powerful Force users of all time to return Abeloth to imprisonment? Yes. Yes, it did. That's why I think Anakin and Ahsoka are the ones who are going to be capable of doing so. The Force ghost of Anakin not appearing to Ben Solo. When we watched The Force Awakens, that was my biggest complaint about the movie, was when Kylo Ren is looking at the mask of Vader, and he says, I feel that pull to the light again, grandfather. Show me the dark side, or whatever he says. Why wouldn't Anakin's Force ghost appear to Kylo in that moment and say, look, buddy, what you're doing is wrong. Everything that you're fighting for right now is the absolute wrong thing, and you should come back to the light, come back to your parents, come back to Luke, all that stuff. Why doesn't he do that? Why doesn't he do it before the events of the sequel trilogy when Kylo is feeling that pull to the darkness? There has to be an explanation for that. Why doesn't Anakin come to Luke when he's making his Jedi Temple? I think the explanation can be that he is preoccupied with Ahsoka on Peridia helping out with Abeloth. But that's just me. That's just me. Yeah. I wish in The Rise of Skywalker they used Abeloth instead of Palpatine. She made sense as the voice in his head. Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. Is Mace Windu alive? No. I think Mace Windu could have survived the fall in episode 3. But the reason I don't think he's alive is because of the fact that he's not already. There is so much Star Wars content like Rebels, Andor, Kenobi, Bad Batch, Tales, in the original trilogy and beyond, that Mace would have shown up by now. It would be honestly harder to weave him and explain why he's not in any stories than to bring him back to life. Because I do think he could have survived that fall. It's Coruscant. There's speeders going by left and right. We've seen people survive a lot worse. But it's where he was this whole time. Mike, do you play Fortnite? I've played Fortnite. I haven't played it in a while. I don't even think I have it downloaded anymore, but yeah. Yeah. Or it could simply be the Force saying, no, not yet. I mean, yeah, maybe, but I just don't think you'd have to explain it, and it would take way too much. What if he lost his memory in the fall? That'd be interesting. That'd be very interesting. Still, where did he go, though? He's on Coruscant. He's on the main capital. Where would he have gone? And if he lost his memory, then what's the point of bringing him back, I don't know. There's a lot to it. I wouldn't be opposed to Mace Windu coming back because I love the character and I love Samuel L. Jackson. It would just be a lot of explaining. Like, they've interwoven characters like Ahsoka before and explained why she's not in the events of Revenge of the Sith, but kept her alive for post Revenge of the Sith, even the original trilogy. But they've interwoven her into Tales episodes and Rebels and all that stuff. Yeah. Are we going to see the Wills of the Force in an upcoming project? I mean, maybe Ahsoka Season 2, but other than that, probably not. He's like Darth Maul. But Darth Maul, again, is in... Well, he's getting his own show, but he's in Solo. He's in Rebels. He's in a bunch of stuff. Mace is in nothing. Nothing. Yeah. Okay. But with that being said, 45% of you still say Starkiller Base, and I'm on board with that. I think this planet right here that you see in The Force Awakens with those trees, the snow, and the rocks, very descriptive, looks the exact same as this planet right here with the snow and the trees and the rocks. I think there's a better shot here with the trees at least. Let's see. Yeah. So this tree right here, I mean, it looks like your average tree. Oh. Yeah, more of them back there. But this giant crater right here, this huge crevasse next to him, or next to the AT-AT, could be this. The giant crevasse on Ilum, which eventually becomes Starkiller Base. This right here. Now, Ilum does not look like that. Let's see. Oh, this is perfect. So this is what it looks like in the Jedi games versus in The Force Awakens. So this is it in Cal Kestis when Cal Kestis shows up on the Mantis. And this is it in The Rise of Skywalker. So it's actually like less frozen over, it looks like. Oh, maybe that's just the image there. But could be. Could be. Hang on, Star Wars just posted something. Hang on, Star Wars just posted something. Oh. Huh. So the official Star Wars account just posted this. The Force is my ally. Iman Esfandi with the Noti puppeteers behind the scenes of Ahsoka Season 1. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay. Thought we were going to get some Ahsoka Season 2 stuff there, but no. That's fine. You know, that's fine. All right. We do have to switch gears a little bit here to Starfighter. Because not only do we have Oscar Isaac talking about Star Wars, but Sean Levy is also talking about the possibility, or talking about what's going on with Starfighter and how they're filming it right now. Okay? So we're going to come back to The Mandalorian and stuff, all those leaks and greatness. We'll come back to it, but let's talk about Sean Levy and what he's been talking about. So Sean Levy and Oscar Isaac. Before we read this article, actually, I'm going to put up a poll about Oscar. Let's see if you guys think he's coming back. Let's see what you think. Do you want Oscar Isaac back in Star Wars? Yes or no? And if so, where? In Starfighter? In the Rey movie? In possibly The Hunt for Ben Solo? Or somewhere else? Tell me in the chat. Okay. I'm still pissed about the clean-shaven Ezra Bridger. What? He came back from 11 years on Peridia. You don't think he wanted to shave his face? Okay. Starfighter director Sean Levy confirms new Star Wars movie isn't a prequel or a sequel. So this is more indication of it being a quote-unquote standalone project. But this is a new update from Sean Levy himself as they are filming this movie right now. Coming off the last summer's Deadpool and Wolverine, Sean Levy has been handed the keys to another blockbuster franchise in the form of Star Wars Starfighter. The Ryan Gosling-led space adventure is set to blast into theaters on May 28th of 2027. Collider Steve Weintraub Caught up with with Levy to discuss all things Starfighter while the director was promoting his 5th and final season of Stranger Things. It always comes back to that. I am so ridiculously excited for Stranger Things season 5. I just finished season 4 yet again. My rewatch. I rewatched all 4 seasons in like less than a month. It was honestly unhealthy, but really excited for Stranger Things season 5 and Sean Levy being attached to that and being attached to Starfighter. It's just great. Okay. Levy was quite honest about how his new Star Wars movie fits into the franchise, stating, well, for one thing, it's different in that it is a all-new, non-sequel, non-prequel adventure. It's new characters, it's new timeline, it inherits legacy themes, but it really tries to give Star Wars fans and just movie audiences something fresh, something new, and with the spirit of play and big-hearted adventure with moments of real levity that, frankly, A New Hope had in a revolutionary way. So, all great things when you talk about Star Wars, when you bring up A New Hope and how you want to recreate that, and even, I believe Ryan Gosling was talking about it being sort of like Empire Strikes Back-esque too. That's what you want, connecting to the originals, connecting to that feeling of greatness when it comes to Star Wars. And it not being a prequel, not being a sequel, but set 5 years after The Rise of Skywalker is kind of interesting because I think it's going to be heavily connected to the sequel trilogy, whether it be an appearance of Oscar Isaac as Poe Dameron or Adam Driver as Kylo Ren or Ben Solo back from the dead. I think it will be connected. Maybe even Mara Jade as Amy Adams. Amy Adams as Mara Jade. However, this is all great news. Great news, Mark. Okay, he continues. He continues. We're really trying to sort of take a tone as a North Star every day. My crew, my DP, Claudio Miranda. Very important name right there. Keep that in mind. Gosling, and Ryan Gosling, is my kind of central collaboration in a lead role. It's certainly been a dream come true. My 10-year-old self is on set with me every day. In fact, he's going to catch a flight tonight and go back to the set and keep shooting on Monday. So this was, I believe, on Friday. They had the premiere for Stranger Things 5. So he just immediately got back on to a plane and goes back to London, I believe, where they're filming, and then goes back to filming for Starfighter on Monday. But it's a huge, invigorating opportunity because Lucasfilm has been so encouraging of me to do something new. This reminds me of Rogue One. Rogue One came out now 9 years ago, which is insane, but Rogue One was almost Lucasfilm going to Gareth Edwards, couldn't think of his name, Gareth Edwards, and saying, do it. Just do it. At one point, there was a version of Rogue One where the good guys, they didn't die. Like, you know how, spoiler alert, they all die at the end? Cassian, Jenner, so they all die. There was a version where they survived. And Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm said, no, kill them off. Do it. Just, do whatever you want. Do it the way you want it to be done, but do that. And this is what it reminds me of. Them giving the reins to Sean Levy, and to give it to anybody, Sean Levy's been a pretty good guy to give it to. You're going to get a very new Star Wars thing, but it reminds me of Rogue One. It reminds me of not being connected, but being connected. A standalone story that's heavily connected to the things that came before and come after. It is the prequel to A New Hope for all intents and purposes, but it's a story about Cassian and Jyn who aren't in A New Hope. So that's what I see this movie as being. The character of Flynn Gray is probably going to be a big one because he's a Force-using kid being hunted down by some evil characters. I think he's going to be very important towards the future, but it's not a prequel. It's not a sequel. It's its own story. It can be a standalone and still have connection to other things at the same time. But he goes on to say something new. There's no pressure to be derivative or limited by an obligation to what came before, the Skywalker saga, that is. It's just, there's just a love for what came before. So the love for what came before and I guess the connecting piece of being like it, but not actually just copy and pasting what came before. So, with that being said, tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, where is your hype level at for Star Wars Starfighter? On a scale of 1 to 10, where are we at? Where are we at? Actually, let's keep reading while you tell me. All right. Do we know what Starfighter is about? Well, Sean Levy also lavishly praised the cinematographer Miranda. So the name I told you to remember, here we go. A frequent collaborator with Top Gun Maverick, Joseph Kosinski, sure, calling him a huge gift to a Star Wars movie. He highlighted the cinematography skills when asked about his contribution, saying this. So we'll get into this in a second. You're talking about a guy, and I got this pulled up too. You're talking about a guy who worked on stuff such as Top Gun Maverick, Tron Legacy, the Tron that came out years and years ago, not the more recent one, and the F1 movie. So these 3 movies. You're talking about a Star Wars movie called Starfighter, a movie where you want to get this right here. You want it to be as close to a fighter pilot movie as you can get. X-Wings and other Star Wars spacecrafts flying through the air just like a Top Gun Maverick type of movie. So when you get the cinematographer who worked on those movies, on Top Gun Maverick, on F1, which came out earlier this year, that's exactly what you want for a Star Wars movie titled Starfighter. 10 out of 10 if it's Luke's son. Okay. Could be. 8 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 8, 6, 7, 5, 6.5. All right. 5 because I'm waiting for a teaser. All right. Can't get excited for a movie before I've seen The Mandalorian and Grogu. Interesting. I hope it's good. To be honest, if it's too removed from the rest of Star Wars, I'm less excited. All right. I think people are going to have very different opinions when it comes to it, just purely based off of its connection to other movies and I guess the want for people to go watch it in the first place. But for me, everything that's been said about this movie, everything that's been done in terms of the cast, being it Ryan Gosling, Amy Adams, Matt Smith, Mia Goth, not only the cast being loaded, but having Sean Levy, a guy with just this incredible recent history with Stranger Things and Deadpool and Wolverine, but just his filmography, his discography, I should say, in general, has been incredible. And then you add in the cinematographer from the biggest movie of 2023. When did Maverick come out? Whatever. Maverick made $1 billion. And it's a fighter pilot movie. That's what you're trying to create in Star Wars. It's got me excited. Aaron Pierre, too. Yes, true. Aaron Pierre is going to be a Lord of the Ring. I meant to say a Green Lantern, which I guess technically is a Lord of the Ring. But yeah, sure. So when you have this loaded cast, the right director, a new story, could have Mara Jade, Amy Adams, and Luke's son as Flynn Gray, but we'll see about that. And you have the cinematographer from a blockbuster fighter pilot movie, when you're making a Star Wars fighter pilot movie. It seems like all the things are lining up. Now, we don't know much about the plot of the movie. We don't know the villains. We don't know much of anything. They're filming it right now. And when a teaser comes out, probably this time next year or whatever, I'm sure we'll have a lot more information about the plot of the movie. But so far, so good. Probably around like a 7.5, maybe an 8 in terms of hype level for Starfighter. Yeah. Mike has the one ring to rule them all. I wish. See, I love a lot of different fandoms and a lot of different franchises. Star Wars is, of course, at the top. But Marvel is up there. Harry Potter is probably not as high, but it's up there. Lord of the Rings is up there. Like Lord of the Rings, the original trilogy, but also the Hobbit trilogy and Rings of Power. If anybody's actually watched that show, season 2 in particular, but the first and second season of that show are incredible. But, sorry. I got a little sidetracked there. Just a little bit. Okay. Where were we? Oh, Starfighter. So that brings me to can we get some good cups full of orders in the chat, please? Bumper. There we go. That brings me to Oscar Isaac. Now, right now, almost 80% of you in the chat say, yes, you want Oscar Isaac back in Star Wars, which is pretty great to see. We have been talking about the past couple weeks with the hunt for Ben Solo and all this news around Adam Driver coming back and wanting to come back, how the sequel love / sequel hate has gone completely the opposite direction. Now, there is still a lot of sequel hate out there. Don't get me wrong. I see it all the time. But it's becoming less and less. With more people wanting Adam Driver to come back to Star Wars, as you see 80% of you guys in the chat right now want Oscar Isaac to come back to Star Wars, a continuation of those sequel characters. That's what we want. That's what 80% of you just said to me. So with that, Oscar Isaac actually gives us an update. Do I have that still up here? Yeah, I do. Here we go. Nope. Hang on. Oh, I had the... Okay, let's see. I had the interview up. Oh, there we go. So we sat down for an interview here about his new...
I don't have an intro.
About his new upcoming movie called Frankenstein. And they start the interview, literally kickstart the interview, by asking him about Star Wars. Take a look at this. Oh,
See, there you
well, you guys can't hear that, so let's try that again.
never return to Star Wars unless you needed a bigger house or a second home.
That was a real likable quote, wasn't it?
See, there you go.
Jesus Christ.
So a big reason as to why people don't think Oscar Isaac would ever come back to Star Wars was because he said that. He said that I would only ever come back to Star Wars if I need a bigger house. If I need, he was very against, I suppose, coming back to Star Wars. And now, sort of saying something very the opposite.
It was,
you say stuff.
Yeah.
People ask you things, you say stuff. You don't really think about it that much.
Right. But then you're held to it because it's
because it's there.
It's like a religion. It's like
it's true. I said a slightly dickish thing.
But then you've said you've softened on this. That was what I was going to ask. It sounds like you've kind of I feel like more recently I saw you saying, well, maybe why not?
Yeah, I mean, possibly. I'm open to it. Like I'd be open to it. Although right now, I'm not so open to working with Disney.
So, all that to say, do you think? Well, first of all, do you think he will be coming back? And do you want him to come back? So he's open to it. That's what all these actors say. I almost see it as, well, he's doing this Frankenstein movie right now. There's rumors that he might be coming back as Moon Knight at some point in the future with Marvel, which is, I mean, Moon Knight Season 1 was 1 million years ago at this point. I just think that you could easily bring in Poe Dameron to a movie like Starfighter. I mean, he is the best Starfighter pilot in the galaxy in the sequel trilogy, so it would be pretty easy to bring him over to that. But it wouldn't be that hard to bring him back, of any character, because him and Finn were sort of set up to be the next leaders of the Republic to an extent, like Leia and Mon Mothma were in the original trilogy. So he would have some sort of leadership position in whatever government takes over the New Republic, the First Order, which destroyed the New Republic. So yes, you can get the Rey movie. You can get a hunt for Ben Solo and bring those characters back. But in order to give us what the government would look like in a post-sequel world, in order to explain what the galaxy will look like as a whole beyond Rise of Skywalker, you need Oscar Isaac there. You need Poe Dameron to be that guy. Yeah. Galactic Republic, like in Legends. General Poe of the Galactic Republic. It could be. I mean, he could be a general, but I think I see him more as like a leader. Yes, he is a starfighter pilot, but it's almost like a retired starfighter pilot who becomes a leader in the Republic, or the New Republic. I can see them setting up a new trilogy with the Yuzhan Vong as the villain. I would love that. Don't get me wrong. If Matt Smith and Mia Goth are playing Yuzhan Vong in this Starfighter movie, that would be insane. It would be new, technically, because the Yuzhan Vong have not been put into canon yet. I'd be just okay with the Grisk, even, because the Grisk have already been set up in canon. But either way, you're going to have Rey, Poe, Finn, all attached to that story. Even if you don't bring Ben Solo back to life, which would be a huge mistake. But if you don't do that, you still have to have these characters. You still have to have Oscar Isaac come back to Star Wars. But this quote makes me think that he isn't coming back for Starfighter because they're filming it right now. True. I mean, this interview is just happened, so if they're filming Starfighter right now, it's likely that he's not in it. Yes, that is very true. Yeah. I mean, he could be lying. If he's lying, he's really good at it. Actors have been known to lie before. That's for damn sure. Especially when it comes to Star Wars. But either way, I still see him coming back at least at some point in the future. Hashtag the hunt for socks for Poe Dameron. Oh my God. Because he's not wearing socks in this interview. You guys are ridiculous. Okay, we got a super chat. Hang on one sec. You guys are insane. April with a very generous $10 holla. My God, says hashtag the hunt for Ben Solo. I appreciate that quite a bit. Indeed, I do. I don't know how Poe Dameron would really connect to the hunt for Ben Solo, but I appreciate that. And I missed another super chat. Hang on. Hang on, chat. Did I? Was it a long time ago? Oh, another Mike who loves Star Wars, a very generous $2 holla. How did I miss that? Check the Discord for Mike Reaper image. Oh, no. Oh, no. What? Oh my God. Okay. Oh my. Like I said, Din Djarin's gonna die. Harrison Dula is gonna die next year in Ahsoka season 2. What is this? What is this? Why did you choose that face I'm making? What? Oh my God. Oh. That is so good. That is so good. Oh. That might have to be the new profile picture, chat. That's incredible. That is incredible. That's so good. Mike's a Nazgul? Oh, yeah. Be a Nazgul, exactly. Oh, I'd love to fly around on one of those dragons. Oh, that's so good. Okay. See, if you are not yet in the Discord, you're missing out because, oh my God. There's a link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. Go join it immediately. That is too good. Oh my God. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. As I was saying, Oscar Isaac can come back because he's not dead. How about that? What are you going to do now? Yeah, I think Oscar Isaac could definitely come back. He seems open to it. And as we know, when it comes to money, it can do a lot of things. I think you'll see many characters from the sequel trilogy again, not just Rey, but Finn and Poe. Even Ben Solo, Adam Driver. Hashtag the hunt for Ben Solo. But either way, you're going to... It's too good. Either way, I think you are going to see Oscar Isaac back in the Star Wars world. But tell me in the chat, what do you think the percent chance is out of 100? So like 10% is like, no, probably not. But 90% is like, oh yeah, I definitely think he is. Where are we at? Where do you think, or do you think Poe Dameron will come back? And if so, where? What do we think, Chad? Oh my God, I Haja with the 16-month membership badge. That's insane. Huge thank you for the saber, Mike. I shall post the pictures on the Discord soon. Oh yeah, of course. I Haja, of course. You guys do not know, if you are a member at the master level for an entire 12 months, for an entire year, you do get a free lightsaber. So, I mean, if you're not a member already, who doesn't want a free lightsaber? And actually, I Haja, since it took us so ridiculously long to get him one, he got two. Yeah. 100% chance he's coming back? Whoa. 10%? 75%? Okay. Why'd you just want to kill him off? What? I'm not killing off. What's his name? Oscar Isaac, Poe Dameron. Good old what's his name? I think Poe will come back in whatever post Revenge of the Sith project comes out first after Starfighter. I do think he is in the Hunt for Ben Solo script based off of that he's been hanging around Adam last year. Was he? I didn't know that. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, I would love to see him in Starfighter, but if he's not already in Starfighter, then it's gonna probably be pretty hard to get him in there. You know, if he's not already there. Yeah. Stay away from Hera. Hera's a goner. And the reasoning for Hera being a goner is because for a very similar reason that Din Djarin should die too, because of what it would mean for the other characters and the catalyst it would put out to the future. Yeah. Cole Rita, almost 2 month. I know. I got to make this freaking 2-year membership badge. I'm a slacker, chat. I'm a slacker for big time. Yeah. Flynn Gray will be the new big bad because he's attached to his uncle and Ryan Gosling gets killed. Flynn Gray being the new big bad would be too on the nose. It would be too much of we brought in a young Anakin Skywalker to be the big bad in The Phantom Menace. Now we're going to do the same thing with Flynn Gray in Starfighter, starting him off as a kid, and then he grows up to be the most evil person in the galaxy. A little bit too similar, if you ask me. Yeah. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Well, as we brought up the oh-so wanted Hunt for Ben Solo movie, I'll give the briefest description of what I'm talking about here. Real brief recap for the Hunt for Ben Solo movie. But Rian Johnson, the director of The Last Jedi, has given his 2 cents on the whole matter. So let's talk about this. Just a few weeks ago, Adam Driver drops the bombshell to Star Wars fans that there was once a Hunt for Ben Solo movie. Not only did Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni, and Carrie Beck absolutely love the idea, but they gave $3 million to Scott Z. Burns, which is the most they've ever paid for a script for a Star Wars movie. And it was fully finished over the course of 2 years. They had Oscar-winning director Steven Soderbergh attached, and they were ready to film. And then when they brought it to Disney, Bob Iger, Alan Bergman shut it down. They did not understand how Adam Driver could still be alive. Sorry, Ben Solo could still be alive, which is ironic because the last movie that we got was The Rise of Skywalker. However, fast forward to today, Adam Driver has now given the fans the power because Star Wars fans have so much power that they don't even know at their fingertips. The ability to get Rosario Dawson cast as Ahsoka or bring Boba Fett back from the Sarlacc pit and give him his own show. Star Wars fans have a lot of power. And now they've used that power to put up billboards on Times Square of the Hunt for Ben Solo, or have fan meetups, or put up missing posters, or all this crazy stuff that Star Wars fans have done to try and get this movie to happen. Everybody's on board except for Bob Iger. All the Lucasfilm people, all the most of the Star Wars fans. I almost said all, but I know how much you guys hate when I speak in that way. Most. Either way, the Hunt for Ben Solo has been the talk of the town for the last couple of weeks. And now, even Rian Johnson, the director of The Last Jedi, breaks his silence on this movie. So let's take a look at this. The Hunt for Ben Solo, the proposed Star Wars sequel trilogy follow-up film is still a hot topic for the fan community. That discussion is starting, yeah, to percolate outside of fan circles, as well with Rian Johnson, who directed the middle installment of the sequel trilogy, The Last Jedi, now weighing in on the discussion. Rian Johnson discussed the project in a recent interview with Andy Cohen on Sirius XM while promoting his latest film, incidentally also part of a trilogy, Wake Up Dead Man, of the Knives Out mystery. Has anybody watched this, or is this out yet? Has anybody watched the new Knives Out movie? I have not seen this one. Anybody? Yes, no, maybe? Maybe so. What do we think? Possibly. Johnson's conversation with Cohen turned into a Star Wars conversation, including a trio of movies he was announced to be developed with Lucasfilm. So if you don't know, when The Last Jedi came out, it was announced that Rian Johnson would be getting his own Star Wars trilogy. And that, well, didn't really go the way they wanted it to, because The Last Jedi comes out. It's met with a big old divide in the Star Wars fandom, and his trilogy gets, we'll just say, put to the side, put away for a little bit. Yeah. So here's what he had to say. This is where things get interesting. Blah, blah, blah. While Johnson is still in contact with Lucasfilm, he has no idea what happened with any of that in regards to the films approved and subsequently canceled, his trilogy, that is. However, he also made it clear that he would love to see the project come to fruition. I want to see Adam in another Star Wars movie. And then it goes on to talk, well, this was the interview itself, but then it goes on to talk about, all this stuff I just recapped in a couple seconds about all that and the hunt for Ben Solo. So Rian Johnson wants to see Adam Driver in another Star Wars movie. What do we? Do you want the hunt for Ben Solo? Tell me in the chat. Yes or no? What do we think? Yes or no? Oh, hang on. Do we want the hunt for Ben Solo? Yes or no? Actually, let me do... Okay. Should we put up a poll? Let's put up a poll. By the way, do you want Oscar Isaac back in Star Wars? 75... Oh my god, the math is mathing there. That's crazy. 75% of you say yes. So I think this will probably go a very similar way. Do you want... Or let's put it differently. Instead of do you want the hunt for Ben Solo, let's put it, do you think the hunt for Ben Solo will still get made? Yes or no? So not do you want it to, but do you think it will be? What do we think? I need the hunt for Ben Solo? Yeah. Yes, Grogu bot. Love it. Think we'll see the Grogu bot again? Doubt it. Now, we do have some news in terms of the hunt for Ben Solo. Because as we talked about last stream, there has been this Star Wars comic, The Legacy of Vader recent issue, that follows Kylo Ren, that might have just given us another way to bring Ben Solo back to life. And it also comes from the idea that the hunt for Ben Solo, although it is canceled, is still manipulating or at least affecting the Star Wars content that we're getting. From the Acolyte giving us the first ever Night of Ren with Kymir, to even Ahsoka Season 1 giving us the World Between Worlds in live action to explain how Ben Solo could come back to life. Now we have Star Wars canon comics with the Legacy of Vader also teasing towards a hunt for Ben Solo movie. Take a look at this. Star Wars is quietly setting up a Ben Solo spinoff fans thought we would never get. Despite the recent news that Disney rejected the Adam Driver and Lucasfilm pitch and completed script of The Hunt for Ben Solo, Star Wars fans have been adamantly calling for the decision to be reversed. At the same time, A brand new Star Wars story has remarkably helped set the stage for future stories starring the redeemed Ben Solo after the rise of Skywalker. Marvel Comics have been recently in the canonically ongoing series Legacy of Vader, set between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. The series stars Kylo Ren as the new Supreme Leader as he attempts to gain new power in the dark side while learning about more about his grandfather, Darth Vader. He's actually at the castle on Mustafar. In the new Legacy of Vader number 10, we see Kylo Ren attempting to rid himself of Luke Skywalker's spirit, leading to a perfect setup for potential stories set after the supposed demise in The Rise of Skywalker. So the big thing was, in The Last Jedi, Luke says, "See you around, kid." And with that, you assume that the two are going to meet again. They never meet again. In the Rise of Skywalker, the two never talk. The two never commune ever again. So that was a big issue. This comic might have just fixed that issue. This is a frame where he's chopping off the heads of like Chewie and Snoke and Leia and Han and all this. Using one of Darth Vader's meditation chambers in his old Mustafar fortress, Kylo Ren experiences a vision in the Force as he seeks to rid himself of Luke Skywalker's spirit, whom he can constantly feel observing, and watching him. However, the vision begins in darkness, with Kylo Ren facing horrifying skeletal visions of key figures in his life, including Rey, Han Solo, Leia, Snoke, Vader, and more, all seeking to break him down. Remarkably, Kylo Ren rejects their world and cuts them all down with metaphorical lightsabers, one red and one blue, one Kylo Ren and one Ben Solo. Shortly after, Kylo focuses his mind on his master, leading to the Supreme Leader ascending to the netherworld of the Force. As such, Kylo Ren encounters multiple Force ghosts: Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Yoda, and Luke Skywalker, in quite a major Force feat, especially for someone who believes he is still fully corrupted by the dark side. He's able to enter the netherworld of the Force, where Force ghosts exist, which is something we've never seen before in canon, which is pretty crazy. If anything, this issue absolutely proves just how unbalanced Kylo Ren is, even before the events of The Rise of Skywalker. I mean, he was always pretty split. That's why he doesn't kill Leia in The Last Jedi either. With the call to the light being just as strong as ever, considering this new story, it's no wonder why Kylo Ren eventually turns back to the light. This is the perfect way for the hunt for Ben Solo to truly continue the story of Ben. This is the conversation that Luke and Kylo have. Simultaneously, this new Star Wars story arguably serves as a key foundation, proving there's far more to Ben's redemption that could and should be explored. Adam Driver's script for The Hunt for Ben Solo would have done just that, bring Ben Solo back to life. Despite his perceived death at the end of Rise of Skywalker, delving further into his attempt at redemption, which felt rather rushed in the sequels themselves, much like Anakin's was in the prequel trilogy. A big complaint for the prequels was that Anakin's turn to the dark side felt rushed. A complaint for the sequels is the exact opposite, that Ben Solo's turn to the light felt rushed. How did they fix the Anakin one? They gave us 7 seasons of an animated show. A lot. How can they fix the Ben Solo one? Well, in comics, they're trying to right now, and also in a movie, or also subsequent shows. The issue helps show there are some fascinating opportunities, not only before Rise of Skywalker, but potentially after as well. Ben Solo deserves to have his story continue with a more unique form of redemption, rather than just a sacrifice, just as Anakin Skywalker did. We've seen that already, so it's just a sort of carbon copy. It would be far more captivating to see Ben Solo having to instead live in the light once more, while reconciling with his past in the dark, becoming a living embodiment of the true balance in the Force, light side and dark. Perhaps with Luke's spirit returning as his master, possibly in the world between worlds, which would be great. As such, it's rather remarkable that official Star Wars stories are adding more fuel to the fire, when it comes to the potential new Ben Solo stories, even as Disney rejected them. So it's possible as you see all the current content that we're getting from Star Wars connecting still to this character of Ben Solo and the Knights of Ren and Kylo Ren, in comics and shows and books and movies and all this stuff, it's very possible that we could still be getting this Hunt for Ben Solo movie. Let's not forget that Lucasfilm loved the idea. Ben Solo coming back. Dave Filoni, Kathleen Kennedy, they loved this idea. The people in charge of making the other content. Just because Bob Iger said no doesn't mean it's gone. Because as we mentioned earlier, no one's ever truly gone.
This is where the fun begins.
So with that being said, I think it's far more likely than ever that Ben Solo does return. But I guess only time will tell. Only time will tell. Even Luke's story could be fixed. I'm all for it. I don't know if Luke's story could be fixed after his death, but I think Luke's story could be fixed if we get a pre-sequel story with young Ben and all that stuff. Yeah, but that's just me. And by the way, still 60+% of you guys say yes, you think that it will happen. Not you want it to happen, but you think it will happen. Hashtag the hunt for Samantha who loves Star Wars. Samantha, yeah, she'll be on soon. I mean, maybe on Saturday's live stream. We'll just have to, you guys just have to beg her to come back on because she's like, oh, they don't like me, you know. No, she doesn't say that, but no. She's busy, you know. She's at work right now. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? But with that, I do have to get on out of here. I got to go finish up the short for today. We got a short coming out in about an hour, of course, as per usual. If you have not yet already, smash a freaking like on this stream. Hit that subscribe, hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video in my pretty face. Show the recommended feed of yours. This was quite the live stream, if I do say so myself. This is the first time we've streamed to TikTok and Twitter, along with YouTube, as per usual. So shout out to you guys for watching on those platforms as well as YouTube and all that greatness. So we're going to continue to do this because it went perfectly today, knock on wood, and we'll continue from there. We shall continue. Always growing. We did hit 189,000 subscribers today. Today. So shout out to you guys for that. Can we get to 200 before the end of the year? It's looking less and less likely. It would be pretty crazy if we did, but 189,000 is pretty damn cool. So thank you guys for that. I appreciate it quite a bit. And we're working on something pretty great. The next What If, I just finished the entire script for it, and it was the most fun I've had writing a script for a What If in a very, very long time. So I'm excited, and it might just have to do with Ben Solo. So, yeah, there's that, and we'll go from there. We shall go from there. Until next time, smash a freaking like on this stream, hit that subscribe, and may the Force be with you. Always. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate you all so much more than you'll ever know. Yeah, this was quite the fun stream. From these Mando leaks of a battle on Nevarro, possibly killing Grief Karga and making Din Djarin go on some John Wick crusade across the universe to kill Shadow Council members, which leads him to the doorstep of Grand Admiral Thrawn, all the way to Oscar Isaac coming back possibly, and the hunt for Ben Solo and Starfighter. Starfighter news. You gotta love it. It truly is the greatest time to be a Star Wars fan. 2026 could be the year of the big blue meanie, but it also could be the year of Star Wars. So until next time, hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives, and good night, everybody.